Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. Today, I want to talk on the topic, what is the purpose of unhappiness? So in this 5-minute segment with Coach Myrna, I want to just share with you that unhappiness really doesn't have a purpose, right? I just finished reading the book, The Power of the Now by Eckhart Tolle. And he made a statement that we choose unhappiness even though it serves no purpose. The mind conjures up unhappiness because all it does is strengthen the ego, but it doesn't ever get us what we want. And it was an interesting way to pose the question. If you know that creating a temper tantrum, silent treatment with your husband, being upset with your friends or whatever, does it ever get you what you want? No, it does not. So he's saying, why do we create it? And it was such an interesting way for me to look at it that, whatever I learn, I teach. So I wanted to bring it to your awareness today. The negativity does not change anything. So why do we choose it? Because we do choose it. We might think that unhappiness happens to us. No, unhappiness is all in your mind. So you actually have to choose it, right? And, he references the book, The Course in Miracles. And it states that we believe that when we are unhappy or our unhappiness buys us what we want. Not true. It actually pushes it further away. Take the child who has conscious parents, right? Not the ones that spoil their kids rotten because they think that they're doing them a favor. The ones that are conscious, that know that child rearing is so that you are making them, I love this phrase, producing members of society. And if you're going to be building, members of society that contribute, then you're not going to be given in to a temper tantrum because it teaches them nothing, right? So let's say that your child decides to throw a temper tantrum because they want to watch TV or they want a toy or they want candy. Any good parent will not give it to them. In fact, if my kids threw a tantrum or cried for anything, they never got that thing. They didn't get it 5 minutes later. They never got it, period. So what Eckhart Tolle is saying is exactly true. It doesn't bring you what you want. It actually pushes it further away. Just recently, I have a foster daughter right now, and she has a TV in her room, and she thought that, she should cry because she wants to watch it. And I says, you better stop crying, else this TV comes out of your room. She didn't stop. The TV comes out of her room. So now she doesn't just watch TV with me. She doesn't have the luxury of watching whatever she wants in a TV in her room. And that's because she thought that she was entitled, right? So this is parenting. You don't cry and create a temper tantrum because you think that that's going to get you something you want. It never works. It never works with a child. It doesn't work with your spouse. It doesn't work with your friends. It doesn't work with your job. It doesn't work. So why do you create it, right? So if we didn't get what we wanted as children, why do we think that we can get what we want as adults by creating unhappiness and negativity? Because all negativity is resistance. And negativity can range from a slight irritation to fierce anger, where you want to hurt somebody, right? So the ego believes that through negativity, it can change reality and get it what it wants. It believes that through unhappiness, it can attract a desirable condition or dissolve an undesirable one. If your mind did not believe that unhappiness works, then it wouldn't create it. The fact that negativity does not work, instead of attracting a desirable condition, it stops it from arising. Instead of resolving an undesirable one, it keeps it in place. The only useful function that negativity or unhappiness has is that it strengthens the ego, and that is why the ego loves it. And Eckhart Tolle made a point. No other life form on the planet knows negativity. Only humans. Just as no other life form poisons the earth that sustains it. Why do we do that? Have you ever seen two ducks fight? They fight. Then all of a sudden they stop fighting, they separate, they go their separate ways, opposite direction, and then they flap their wings, right? So what the flapping of the wings does, it releases the negative energy, and they're done. Never thought of again. Doesn't carry it around for decades, right? So we, on the other hand, carry around negativity and unhappiness for decades. He did that to me, right? We love to play the victim. Love to play the victim. There's a line in The Matrix. I just rewatched The Matrix because I had someone on the show that talked about The Matrix, so I have to go watch it again because there's some good points in that movie. That if you're not conscious, you are going to miss. And one of the lines in The Matrix is that humans destroy the land or the environment that they're living, and then they just move on to the next place. After this one has been destroyed and they can no longer get anything out of it, they move on to the next place. So that's what we do as humans, right? We have this bad relationship, we're destroyed, and then we just move on to the next one, right? And we take that unhappiness with us because guess what? Unhappiness is what you become, right? It's something that you put on. It's not really you. So if you're unhappy one way, you're going to take that unhappiness with you. So the point I want to bring to your attention today is that it serves no purpose. It never actually gets you what you want. Think about it. Has nagging your spouse ever resulted in them becoming the spouse that you want them to become? Or does it have the opposite effect? You nag them, they stay away. They don't come home. You nag them, they put up this wall where you're not getting through. It doesn't work, right? And that is why the Bible says that a man would rather live in a corner on a rooftop than in a house with a nagging wife. Serves no purpose, right? So today I want to shine a light on unhappiness. Why do we create it if it does not get us what we want? There are life situations that can create unhappiness. They're unhappy situations. We all know about them, right? But what Eckhart Tolle teaches is that you have three choices when you're in an unhappy situation. You can, one, remove yourself from the situation. You got a bad marriage, you leave, right? You don't like your job, you leave. You remove yourself from the situation. We can change how we think about the situation. And this is something I learned from Wayne Dyer. Change the way you think about a thing, and the thing that you think of will change. I practice that all the time, and it works. Or thirdly, which a lot of us have problems with, is that we accept the situation. And I don't mean accept the situation today and then tomorrow you nag about it. I mean, you accept the situation completely. Whatever is going on in your marriage, whatever is going on in your job, whatever is going on with your children, you just accept them completely. And then there's no reason to be unhappy, right? What good does it do if you don't do any of the above things? You don't remove yourself, you don't change the way you think about it, you don't accept it, but you just live with this unhappiness. Doesn't do anything. I tell you what it does. It creates disease in the body and sends you to an early grave, but it never gets you what you want. And happiness never serves a purpose other than to make you sick. So even if you throw a temper tantrum and you get the toy in the store or your spouse gives in, ultimately your unhappiness returns. It is only temporarily satiated. Yeah, because you're not changing anything. You know what I mean? You're not changing anything deep down. You're not accepting the situation completely. You are just, you give the kid the toy and you think that, okay, they're going to be happy. No, 5 minutes later, that toy is going to be somewhere and they're going to be asking for something else because you just created a monster. You just told them that they can create a tantrum and make a noise and be unhappy and cry crocodile tears, and you are going to give in. And guess what? You're always going to give in. So you might think that even if someone gives in because they don't like conflict, or your husband gives in because he doesn't like the whatever, right? And you think that that's going to make you happy for the rest of your life. No, it does not. Tomorrow, next week, you're going to find something else to be unhappy about. So, right. So even if you are satiated, it doesn't last. So learn to control your mind and tell your ego that since unhappiness doesn't serve to any purpose, create happiness, create acceptance, live your life with joy and peace and all the great positive emotions and hope. All right, so that was my message today. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Hope to see you back here next week, same time. Until then, namaste.